This is a day that I think all TFC fans have been expecting for a while and yet simultaneously thought would never come. Michael Bradley is retiring. Michael Bradley, the man who has captained Toronto FC for over half of its existence, is retiring at the end of this season, playing his final match this weekend. It marks the end of a 20-year career for Michael Bradley and a 10-year Toronto FC career. The defensive midfielder spent 6 years at Toronto FC as a designated player, 4 years now as a targeted allocation money player, and has been a crucial component to the team for all of it. 307 appearances for Toronto FC, ranked second only to Jonathan Osorio, and 19 goals, which ranks 7th all-time for the club. There is no questioning the importance that Michael Bradley has had to this team. With Michael Bradley as a part of this team, Toronto FC reached MLS Cup 3 times, winning it once, won a Supporters' Shield, won a domestic treble, still being the only team in Major League Soccer history to have won a domestic treble, reached the final of the CONCACAF Champions League, and won the Canadian Championship 4 times. It hasn't all been smooth sailing, but Michael Bradley was a key contributor to the greatest era in Toronto FC history. And now he's finally leaving. And it's mind-boggling, honestly, because I feel like almost for the entire duration of my channel, like since the end of the 2019 season, we've been talking about transitioning away from having Michael Bradley start every game. We've been talking about having other younger midfielders come up, and yet season after season that didn't happen. Season after season, Michael Bradley remained as a key starter in this team, for better or worse. And now, without him ever stepping back off of the regular starting role, he's retiring. That's a gap in the midfield that's going to have to be filled, because even watching this season, like regardless of how bad Toronto FC's been, it's clear that Michael Bradley still is a serviceable player in MLS and a serviceable member of this team. Sure, as he's declined, the team has gone down, but Michael Bradley still was a key part. Even post being a designated player, 2020, the team that pushed for the Supporters' Shield, he was a crucial component of that. 2022, he was scoring goals in the Insigne Bernardeschi debut. He had a brace right off the bat. He still showed, even as the years went on, that he was a good player for this team, and just what he did for this team will forever be remembered. But I think this transition is indicative of TFC as a whole right now. This is a team where older players have fallen off and the team has fallen off in recent years. And now with John Herdman coming in, remember we had those news coming out earlier in the week that if like John Herdman wanted Michael Bradley to be all in on the rebuild if he was going to re-sign. And I mean, at Michael Bradley's age, sticking around for a rebuild wasn't really something that was beneficial to him, so the retirement makes sense in that aspect. But this is a Toronto FC team that like needs a full-scale shift under John Herdman, and so it kind of marks the perfect time for Michael Bradley to retire and kind of let the team transition into something without him. Now going forward, this is no longer Michael Bradley's midfield, and that is exciting for Toronto FC going forward, because for the first time in 10 years, this is a team that is not going to have a midfield run by Michael Bradley. It's like the first time now that the midfield is getting a new identity almost in 10 years. And so now we get to see exciting new things, because that number 6 spot has been Michael Bradley's for 10 consecutive seasons for Toronto FC. There's now an opening there that we can either get international players to come fill, or we can get younger guys from the academy to fill it out, because like we've had guys come up that could potentially fill that spot but haven't really given them the opportunity because Michael Bradley was there. Now for like literally the first time in 10 years, that number 6 spot is open for the taking, and anyone's to take. And with John Herdman coming in, he now gets to mold that position and that play style and that midfield to his liking, so he doesn't have to inherit the set rock in that midfield. So like for the overall transitional period that Toronto FC is in, it is a very good time for Michael Bradley to retire. We get to end this season, we get to have Michael Bradley's last game, everything kind of gets to come together all at one final moment, and then next season, new coach, new GM, new sporting director, everything kind of starts over, and Michael Bradley is left out of it and left in his era. Controversial figure as he was the last couple seasons at Toronto FC, I think in the end all of us can agree that Michael Bradley retires a club legend. one of the greatest, if not the second greatest, ever to wear the badge. Michael Bradley is retiring after 308 games following the last match of the season for Toronto FC. We wish him the best in retirement, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we see him back in a front office role. So, that is for this video. As always, if you'd like to hit like, if you want some more stuff, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.